"The BBC is really hurting today," declared Jeremy Vine outside Wogan House, the home of Radio 2. Last week, as the country learned that the broadcaster was paid north of £700,000 a year. He was right, which is what the corporation's Tory critics so ardently wanted. Over the day, various household names squirmed as they were confronted with the reality that, by the standards of the mass of their viewers or listeners, those paying the license fee, their pay was eye-wateringly high. BBC arguments about needing to keep up with the market were palpably overstated. Where else are John Humphreys or Jeremy Vine likely to broadcast to such big audiences in such well-loved, prestigious programs with such fantastic production support? Dozens of broadcasters would jump into their shoes if given the chance. The architects of the BBC's pay disclosure regime seemed to have achieved their objective. The BBC cannot be trusted with the public's money. It plainly needs to be downsized or done away with. The road to gender parity in BBC pay, paved with bad intentions, read. More yet, as the day wore on, the argument shifted gear, in a way that will have discomfited the corporation's legion of Tory enemies. As it became clear that the BBC's female presenters were paid much less than their male counterparts, sometimes dramatically so, the argument moved from BBC excess to the fairness with which it treats its male and female talent. Assessing fair pay can be tricky, but that's hardly the case when there is such glaring gender salary inequality. Fairness, which advances in behavioral psychology suggest is a basic human instinct, is the proposition that reward should be proportionate to outcome, just as punishment should be proportionate to the crime. To insist on such proportionality goes with the grain of humanity. Female presenters and reporters are producing exactly the same kinds of content as men. Only sexism, male refusal to concede norms of fairness, and maybe some female reluctance to press for being properly valued can explain the gap. The story became the female stars' anger at the scale of the BBC's unfair treatment of their talent, flushing out of an embarrassed management a commitment to rectify the situation by 2020.